Hello and welcome to yet another cast. For you today we have a game played on Seton's Clutch, and it was played with OptiBalance by the looks of it, as we have these thingies. I'm just gonna remove them since I'm gonna do my introductions anyway. But as per usual, Seton's, we have the top team up here, team 1 up here on the top, the northern team, and team 2 down here in the south. Let's start with the northern air slot. In Cyan and going Cybran, we have Samsung 4K opening first land. Then to the south of that, in green, also going Cybran and opening first air, we have Gabble. Then on the front slot, we have also going Cybran, a lot of Cybrans on this team, in this hot pink, Little Miss Murder, and she's already moving towards the middle. But she also opened first land on that note. And to the north of that, going UEF in lime green, we have Fickham, who opened first land. And yeah, it looks like second air. Fair enough. Maybe trying to get early deny on the side island. Now to the southern team. In the southern air slot, going Aeon in piss yellow. And opening first air, we have Zwiersak, something like that, however you pronounce that. Then to the north of that, on the rock slot, also going Aeon, and also opening first air, going in white, we have Ueon. Then on the middle, on the front slot, going Seraphim in red, and opening first land, we have Drunk Warden, sorry about that. And last but not least, in the south, in Burgundy Red, also already moving to the middle, going Cypern and opening first land as well, we have Sodi, I think? Yeah, Sodi. I'm just gonna refer to them as Sodi. But yeah, already scout out from Gabble, so their air factory is definitely already up. Right, they went first air, of course their factory is already up, but air scouts obviously being very cheap, easily produced. First air allows for some easy scouting. Now a bit unusual is the first air for the air player, as at least on Seton's, as usually the air player on Seton's doesn't need a air factory till like 5 minutes or so, when they usually start upgrading, as the air player tends to skip the T1 air phase. Now, it's not the first time we've been on Seton's Clutch, and most players will know it, but just for the ones who don't. Usually front players move towards the middle, beach players come in to support that. Reason is that there is this massive amount of reclaim right here in the middle that the players just want to get with their ACUs. As that allows for some nice T2 maxes for front players, but also the rest of the team due to the overflow. Then you have these side islands with 5 maxes each, usually grabbed by the rock players, right here on the cliffs, who also get these rock chunks right here to get their eco up a bit faster. The beach players can try to deny that with early inties, though you rarely see it, at least you rarely see it completely succeed. But there are some cases where the beach players can actually just deny that. And with that you usually tend to get a bit of a circling action, as the rock player gets a higher eco compared to the beach player due to the higher amount of maxes. Though that, and at least in the early game, that can be countered by the rock player, by the beach players also going to the middle and grabbing some of the reclaim. Now, ACU of Drunk Warden and Little Miss Murder, their ACUs are currently just tangling a bit, firing into each other, but not doing any noticeable or significant damage right here. And the ACUs of Fickham and Sodi are about to rev as well. However, most of the reclaim has already been claimed by the ACUs of the others. Though you can see one of the annoying parts when you set a manual reclaim order and the piece of reclaim or direct that you have queued to reclaim has already been destroyed or reclaimed beforehand. It will just get set to a random other piece of reclaim on the map, For example, these random tree clumps on the complete opposite side of the map, something you really don't want to see. Now, Naval Factory already out for Uehan. Currently, Air Factory is still going up for Thickham, so those are currently somewhat on par. By the looks of it, currently no Air Factory out from Gabor. Though there are some jesters, however, since there are also indies out from Zodi, those won't get too far, and Zodi is already building frigates out of naval factories. Now, all ACUs are in the middle, let's go back to this. And the ACU for Trunk Warden is actually down into the yellow already. At now below 7k HP. And there is also already quite a bit of spam for Little Miss Murder. That is pouring in some damage, but that's quickly just taken out by Zodi. While the ACU of Thickham is dealing with the bit of spam, Trunk Warden also moved up to the front. Little Miss Murder also going into the yellow now, at around bit over 5k HP. But still more than Trunk Warden, and with that Cyclone regen that will also, of course, be regained a lot faster. Though she is now moving north, maybe to try and intercept Zodi's ACU. Or also just to narrow the ACU of Trunk Warden that was also, who was also moving north. But Thickham also into the yellow now, taking a lot of fire from these Thams and Suis, I guess, and forced to pull back a bit. Though not before grabbing a bit more of the reclaim right here. However, apparently Uehan decided to go for an early submarine. Interesting call, but it does make a lot of sense as it does allow them to deny the players of the northern team to move into the northern pond while retreating to get away from their opponents. As that will mean that they have to that they will be vulnerable to the submarine attacking. Zodi down into the red at just above 2k HP, but they managed to get away, I think. Yeah, they went down to 1.2k HP for a moment, but they did survive that, so it's fine. I think Reclaim is basically completely mobbed up now, so let's see who got how Reclaim is looking. How was that? Yeah. Okay, Little Miss Murder actually collected the most at 6.1k. After that we have Swirzak. I guess that is really just all the tree Reclaim, since they do have reclaimed most of the trees by the looks of it. Well, okay, wouldn't say most of it, but quite a lot. Right. Little Miss Murder actually beat Trunk Warden, which I completely missed because I was zooming into other stuff. Sorry about that. But by this time you should really be used to me missing shit. Anyway, next highest on Reclaim is Samsung 4K. Not sure how well Trunk Warden did because, well, I can no longer see. So yeah, our players getting quite a bit of Reclaim as well. But looking at the leaderboard just made me notice a massive difference in rating. As, if we just go back to teams for now, the highest rated player in this game is Swirzak at 1800, and their opponent, the other air player, Samsung 4K is only 1500. That's a 300 rating disadvantage for the northern team on that slot. And if, let's see, is there... Well, to be fair, Gabber has a 500 rating advantage on Zodi. Also, they do have the high eco slot. And Navy... But Navy and Land both technically had slight rating disadvantages, though we will have to see how much those will affect the game. But with that, some slight imbalances in this game. We will see how they do, or how they will affect it. Little Miss Murder throwing up a PD, I guess just to solidify their or her position in the middle, securing these maxes and preventing a push. Similar action coming out from Zodi, throwing up a PD right here. Though Zodi's ACU is pushing forward, and that will probably be able to just overwhelm or just push through that even with PD, so don't think it will be too important. Small run by, though there are reinforcements coming in that will probably just kill that while moving past, so nothing really to pay attention to. And Little Miss Murder pushing a bit too far and getting into the PD fire. Which can be quite painful, though I think that that this right now has the potential for a trade. Both ACUs getting very low at very similar HP pools. And I think that if one of them goes down and they keep rolling like this, then probably both will go down in the end. Little Miss Murder deciding that she does not want to do that, retreats for now, regaining some HP. But a trade would definitely have been possible right here. And, well, okay, I'm not too sure how much of how great that of an idea that would have been, though I'm sure it could have done some major damage. Just noticed, drop coming out from Swirzak, an anti-drop right into the front base of the air player, though ASF already out for Samsung 4K, and we already have another drop coming out right here. Those arties will get down, and that was T2 Max, I'm pretty sure of it, at least. Here's another one that did not actually get hit, or at least not hit yet. But there will be a second T2 Max going down. There we go, and even the reclaim gets overkilled. Okay, this one will also go down. Hello, Nick. And we have some, but we already have some renegades out from Samsung 4K that are intercepting that, so I think that will reduce the economic damage, and also some hunters spammed out by them as well. Labs very effective in dealing with arty, as it is, or with arty drops, as it is quickly spammed up, or as labs are quickly spammed up and very effective. Very good at dealing with stuff like that. The other drop seems to have gotten through and dropped its load right here, as the Max right here died. And I think those wrecks are the wrecks of those arties. And Northern Navy not actually looking, or not Northern, Southern Navy not actually looking too great for the Northern team right now, as there's already T2 Navy out for Zodi. Currently only T1 Navy out from Gabber, though they do have T2 Air. And their side production on the side island is already under threat. Nick, I usually do these casting streams on my own. Anyway. Where was I? Right, let's maybe take a look at the Northern Navy. What that is going on. A bit of naval build-up going on from both sides. Looks like a bit of a blockade attempted by the Ehans, though it currently still has quite a few gaps. And the force from Vilcum that are being built up, that is being built up in response, will probably be sufficient to deal with that for now. But let's return to this down here. The destroyer is still alive, though it is currently being focused down by top bombers, I believe. Yep, taking quite a bit of damage. And there are also quite a few submarines, though those will probably just get... Never mind, yeah, the Salem is still here, and those will probably just... That Salem will probably just shred the submarines. Or, well, no longer, as it just died. But this mismatch on Navy here might be a problem, though, saying that T2 Navy has now been achieved by Gabber. They just quickly built up their T2 Naval HQ, and thus they will be able to just catch up with that. And we also have some support out from Vilcum as well, with some ASF support out from Samsung 4K, so yeah, there is no air presence currently to be worried about right there. And I think Samsung is actually ahead on current ASF counts. They do have the same amount of factories as their opponent, Swirzak, though I think Swirzak focused on those drops earlier in order to delay the progress of Samsung, and thus hasn't built up as many ASF. I think that may be the first. Wait, no, I think there are currently only 2. Now, in the meantime, in the middle, a bit of firebasing going out from Little Murder. However, that is currently under serious threat from the Navy to those destroyers, and we also see some Nothas in the air that are taking down the Cerberus turrets and those filthy tickle guns. The situation getting even worse now that Exodus destroyers from the other side, out from New Ehan, arrived, which will definitely cause a massive problem, as that way Little Miss Murder cannot retreat into any of these ponds and just has to pull back over the land, as both navies are very dangerous right now. Cruiser coming in from UN as well, that will just to create a no-fly zone, I guess. That won't help the situation. And the firebasing from Little Miss Murder has gone down, just like most her units in an attempted push. And Saudi has a very large amount of spam still producing and still out. That will definitely pose a major threat to Little Miss Murder's ACU, which is quickly trying to pull back. However, it is down into the red. Okay, just a level of veterancy after killing off that Salem, but still very threatened. I think the best call might be to get into the water and follow the Navy try and get back onto the land via the rock slot through the cover of Gapper's Navy. And that seems exactly what she's trying to do. However, she might have gotten into the water just a bit too late and dies to the splash damage of one of the Northas. Unfortunate. So with that, the front players for both teams did die. Front now gifted over to Gapper. So both players on the bottom navy now being on double base. And the push right here might actually cause some issues for the current front positions, as I think that the spam that was built up by the Little Miss Murder was, well, never mind, it was actually sufficient, especially with the Navy support out from the destroyer that Governor built up to actually deal with this, so never mind. That is actually sufficient now. Though some Maxes do go down. Yeah, some Maxes that did not go down on the mirror side, so something you really never want to see. Well, not never, but that you should always try to avoid where possible. Losing Maxes in a push that your opponent didn't lose in their push. But with the spam and the Salem fire, the AC of Saudi also forced to pull back, as it is quickly running out of support. Though saying that there is now also Navy support coming in from them, with their own destroyer and quite a few frigates, forcing the Salem to pull back. Though, yet again, there is now also a destroyer coming in from, not a destroyer, a cruiser coming in from Gabber that is also pouring in damage. The Cypern cruiser actually being a quite decent direct fire unit. But we're looking at 2 destroyers right now, so definitely a imbalance right there. Yeah, not going too well right now. Another cruiser does come in, as well as another destroyer currently on its way. Though I think more T2 factories would definitely be necessary. Well, never mind, there's another one right here. But land push right here did continue for a bit. And I think it may have hit a frontline radar. Yes, it did. I think it was somewhere... Yeah, I think it was here. There's still the Cypern Foundation. And another max did go down. We now also see some T2 land right here in the middle. We are at 18 minutes, so that's not too surprising. And there are now also destroyers out from Fickham. though Fickham being a lot more passive on the Navy, not really trying to support the middle area. Would love to see a lot more aggression out from them, as they do at least have something to force this Navy out from the beach area and push some damage into the middle, which is now being claimed by Saudi, and they also have quite a bit of reclaim to get, looking at all of this. And they are now also using the sneaky nature of the hover capabilities of the Suri. One of the T1 units that actually is hover, the Seraphim T1 mobile artillery. Of course, being indirect fire, it is quite easy to dodge, but especially against large naval formations that aren't quite as mobile as other stuff, it can be quite annoying. And can put in quite a lot of damage, as it's also really cheap to produce. But Gabba deciding that they want to harass the naval intel for Saudi, just sending in a singular renegade to pick off the sonar, basically blinding their opponent. A nasty yet effective strategy, and they will succeed in doing that. So if you look at Saudi now, okay, they do actually know quite a bit, and commander under attack. Yes, they are currently engaged in combat right here, facing off a small T1 push out from Gabba. However, at the same time, they are pushing Gabba back in the Navy with their T2 and now also large amounts of power production, threatening this T2 naval factory, which is taking quite a bit of fire. But due to the factory being focused down, those destroyers were not firing back at the stuff actually damaging them, and thus they are about to die. There they go. But we have the Suez now moving as well, and while they are slower on the water than they are on land, like for all hover units, just the amount of Suez is going to be, well, a bit dangerous. Let's just take count. We're looking at 74 Suez. I don't have the mod that gives information about DPS and stuff like that, but, well, it can be really devastating. Though they are now being picked off at range by the Salems due to the high range of naval units, especially naval T2 units. North Navy is still just a Mexican standoff. Nothing going on there. And let's see, how do air grids look? We currently have 3 air factories out for Samsung. Yeah, just 3. Never mind, 4. There's another one down here. I guess that's going to be the start of the secondary air grid. Against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 air factories currently out for Swirzak. So Swirzak currently on a much higher air production. Let's take ASF count. We're looking at 32 for Swirzak and also 32 for Samsung 4K, so both players on the same ASF count. Fair enough. Though Samsung also at the same time using that their air production to build units to support ground targets, with them now building up some close airs, but also frequently building torp bombers to support Gabba in their naval endeavors. And by the looks of it, most of these Suez have actually been cleared up by the navy of Gabba now. Let's look at mass incomes. And let's again sort by all players. Highest eco currently is Swirzak at 392. After that we have Samsung 4K at 352, so the Northern Air player is slightly behind on eco. After that we have Gabba at 346 or 45, not too sure, probably reclaim related differences. And after that Fickum at 253. So while Swirzak has the highest eco, everyone behind that, or the 3 players behind that, are all in the northern team. And due to that, unsurprisingly, the northern team is ahead in total economy or total income by around 100 mass. Also notably, Yuian actually behind their opponent Fickum by roughly 40 mass. And Sodi behind by around, around 100 mass compared to their opponent Gabba. So in general, Northern team doing a lot better on the economy game. And I think that will, especially in the ponds, be very, very visible in the later stages of this game. Since that will just allow quicker attacking, quicker ecoing, and also just more naval production for the naval players. As it is Seton's, I don't expect too much land aggression, though saying that there is some T3 land out for Gabba now. They have put up some loyalists. Now personally I don't really like the loyalists, I prefer the brick just due to being a lot tankier, though I do understand that the loyalist is very much effective at raiding, and when your opponent is still at the T1 and T2 stage due to the EMP cannon that it gets. I just personally don't like it. I just prefer the very heavy tanky style of the brick. But what do I know, I'm a mere 900. So these players are all far, far ahead of my rating. Now, with the naval threat coming in from Gabba, however, there is some T2 arty now thrown up by Swirzak in the middle, some miasmas. I guess to just prevent the navy from Gabba to threaten the middle causeway, or that firebase, or however you want to call it. But let's see, do we have any T3 production up here? T3 currently for Seraphim still going up from Saudi. And I don't expect that they will be going for tagged Cypern land, as they already have that Seraphim stuff right at the front line. That as the state did inherit that, so it's probably better off they are probably better off just going for that. And currently T3 air going up from them. Let's see who else go T3 air on the northern team. We currently only still have T2 out from Gabba. I think they went T3, yeah, they went T3 and even Raz on their commander. Raz seems a bit weird as they are still not full T3 maxes. But it's their choice. And let's see, we do have T3 out from Fickum as well. And let's see, there is T3 air out for Yuian. So we are currently on the way for all 3 players for the southern team having access to T3 air, and currently only 2 out of 3 of the northern team having access to the same thing. The background music, that's the background music is the it's a custom background music mod on the Fifth World. I can't remember which one it was called. But a small naval push, well, let's not call it small, a naval push coming out from Gabba that is currently bombarding the firebase that was built up by Saudi and Swirzak together, and that definitely has range to reach that miasma, and it will definitely kill that, so so it won't be that effective. At least if it's being targeted down, and it is. Okay, yeah. The why those miasmas do basically prevent Navy from coming in too close. If you just have a sufficiently large dove stack of Navy that can reach there, it's not gonna do much. Since, you know, then that you just have enough overwhelming firepower to out DPS everything. Saying that, the second miasma is not actually being targeted down and thus will survive for a bit longer. Though at the same time most of the firebase did actually still die. And most of the naval production most of the T1 production right here from Saudi also died. Though we now see a large top bomber presence out from Swirzak, and they do have quite a lot of ASF. Let's make a count, 97. I think they probably have more than Sensen 4K now at that. Yep, they are currently still at 80. 3 out of those 80 are currently out of fuel. You really want to avoid that, you should definitely build air staging if you go for large air forces. I think air staging is really a underutilized feature by some players. Since you don't want your you don't want your ASF out of fuel, and also simply having air staging quickly regens your ASF as well, meaning that you can that they will trade just as good as they did in their first engage the next time they get to engage the enemy. You really don't, and not the thing you usually have with pre-damaged ASF, that they will die quicker when engaging other air. And of course it's also always nice when you have gunships, because gunships tend to take a lot of damage due to their slow nature, and thus, well, it's nice to have them regen. But due to this massive air mismatch, currently just some aircraft carriers instead of battleships coming out from Gabo. They do have T3 Navy, and I just saw a battleship right here as well. Yep. There's also a Galaxy class battleship out from Saudi. So both players at T3. However, currently a priority on aircraft carriers out from Gabo, which, to be fair, is understandable as they currently do face the issue of a overwhelming air force from the enemy. But they should definitely still build up some battleships, as their opponent also has their own. Though I think they, after that destroy, the next thing in the queue are actually battleships. Let me just correct that, or check that. Yes, I was correct. I am not always perfect on the icons, but I guess this time I was correct on that. I can confuse them quite easily at times. And more importantly, I also forgot what the icon for the cruiser was, so wasn't too sure there. Still no main naval engagements going on in the north. North Navy remaining very static. What did happen is apparently a drop of some harbingers out from Swirzak, completely killing off the side island for Ficum, not for Ficum, for Gappo. That probably did some damage to their economy. Ficum actually also falling behind on eco now. I guess that's really just the lower eco potential of that slot, and never mind, there was some raid or some drop on that expansion as well, on these 3 expansion maxes in the north. That did happen. So let me just check. Right, yeah, about the soundtrack, I forgot the name earlier. Right, the stream score that actually allows me to check my UI mods. And the soundtrack is the Philip Craft soundtrack. Very nice soundtrack. And it's available in the mod vault, so you can find it there if you look for it. Though I have to point out, you won't get the base game soundtrack with that, which of course is also amazing. But yeah, and there's probably some way to get both. I just don't have them. I just currently don't have that set up. But another thing nice to see, these harbingers being put on a patrol move and automatically reclaiming. Something people sometimes tend to forget. The harbinger can reclaim. And that's probably one of the nicest features about the harbinger, probably. I mean, it's a pretty good assault boat, but also the fact that it can just reclaim while pushing, basically, does make it pretty amazing. Gunships coming out from Ficum to try and help with that, after the Corsairs took their Sweet time to take that out. And transport for Gapper right here for some reason. Don't know why. We have some... okay, we have some Ras Zakus out from Samson 4K right here in the pond that are just reclaiming these Salems, and they are definitely capable to do that, at least some of them, as they do have a... since at least this one actually has a... has nano upgrade. Though, right, the nano upgrade on the Cypher and Zakus only increases the regen to a whopping 400. That may be the highest regen in this game. Without a joke, though, I also just saw an experimental was finished by Swirzak, and it was a donut, I saw. Currently no orders given. Let's see how that will be used. And has 1 unit stored. Is that just normally that has 1 unit stored, or... I guess it is. But, of course, the SAR also being a mobile aircraft carrier. Now... Samsung 4K apparently a bit fed up with what was going on in the Navy, deciding to just build up their own build power right here in the area and starting to get up some harms in the area, just completely denying the naval stuff out from Saudi. With those Zakus stated that they dropped a bit earlier. Probably also gonna build up some more SAMs while they are already in the area. Yep. There they are, already going up. And the harms already getting spamming out torpedoes and killing off these T1 engineers. Though they can't actually target the ones of Swirzak, as the Aeon engineers are floaty and do not actually hit the water, unlike Cybran, which, if you look at it, is slightly touching the water, which is just enough for torpedoes to actually aim. Or actually target that stuff. Weird interaction of this game sometimes. Same goes for UEF, the with engineers also hitting the water, though a bit more aggressively if you look at it. Their tracks are actually completely submerged. Unlike Cybran engines, which where the wheels are still over the water for the most part. But yeah, UEF and Cybran engineers slightly worse than the ones of the other factions, being targetable from torpedoes as well. Larger force of Solaces now coming out from Swirzak, trying to deal with those Zakus, I think. Yep, it is targeting down the Zakus. Even that Nano Zaku has taken a lot of damage from that, though it is regening very quickly, unsurprisingly. But another pass coming through and didn't drop, okay. But the SAMs that were built up are putting out quite a bit of damage. And are just completely shredding those top bombers, those T3 top bombers. Just another experimental notification. I did not pay attention to actually who built that experimental. Right, however, what I do see is that Swirzak is moving up. And Samsung 4K going directly for the dive on that SAR. They will lose air for that, however, they did get this massive aircraft carrier, this the experimental Aeon aircraft carrier, the donut. But again, they lost a lot of ASF for that, which will just allow more air aggression out from Swirzak in the long game, or in the long term. But I would say it's probably still worth it. Right, I think the other experimental that finished was the Tempest, the experimental battleship of the Aeon, also out from Swirzak, and the naval unit with the highest range, after being the same as the UEF battleship, the Summit, at 150. If it hasn't been nerfed since the last time I checked it, but I don't expect it that happens, so I'm just gonna stick with that, with the 150 range. But massive fuck-off cannon, horrible reload on that, and some amazing torpedoes. I'm not sure how good the DPS on that cannon actually is, but the high AoE does technically allow it to get multiple targets at the same time as well. And yeah. I should probably take a look at the DPM of that cannon, or DPS of that cannon at some point in time. I did not actually do that, I think, ever, but like most experimentals, technically mass for mass it's not worth it. In practice, it's still will do its job, and the high HP pool can make it quite useful. But as with every unit, you are technically still best off just spamming T1. As higher attack units, with the exception of the Ishma, if I remember correctly, are technically never worth it mass for mass. The Tempest now targeted down by the Barracudas and a bunch of frigates. I think the Tempest ground firing some stuff. And I almost missed it. But Navy in the north finally engaging. We have Omens out for Urihem, and Fickham did go for some Neptunes. Now at short range, and especially in conjunction with those sheet boats, the Neptunes will probably have a better DPM than the battleship, if I remember correctly. The big thing with battleships, if microed correctly, they can always outrange a battlecruiser, and thus make the battlecruiser is easily countered when your opponent also has T3, and thus often not really worth it. But we also see large amounts of missile fire due to lack of micro just getting through and completely shredding these battleships that stayed stationary for most of the time. And I hear chicken pushing. Right, we have a chicken and a GC pushing through the middle, out from Swirzak and Saudi respectively. Honestly, this is probably an amazing shot, just having that naval engagement in the back with the push. Maybe if I pull it more like this. You have the naval stuff with the experimental push in the background. Might make it to the thumbnail, not too sure yet. I usually make them quite a bit after casting. Usually the day before the cast actually goes live. And though back to this, we have a lot of bricks coming out of the water that were probably built up and just moving around. They just took out the chicken and are now also moving up behind the GC. A lot of T2 PD also thrown up, and that is currently just shredding the GC in conjunction with a whole bunch of Corsairs. How the economies look. Currently Team 1 around 300 mass ahead, at 1.9k mass income with 1.6k. And with those two experimentals, that's also gonna be two really nice racks. Really juicy to just collect. And never mind, I don't think there will be much of the GC left, as there is currently missile fire going right into this. Never mind, it didn't actually hit the rack itself, it just splashed it a bit. So still quite a free game to get. But we already have the next GC pushing up. And apparently also another donut. I think I just saw the bomber, I just don't know where. Might have been the top bombers, not too sure. But by the looks of it, mass Tempest production queued up in the South Navy. That will be really hard to deal with, especially due to the high range I already pointed out earlier. and Swirzak doing the exact thing they need to do to use the Tempest effectively while still saving a lot of APM. Just having that on an attack move. This way it will stay at maximum range and target its or not, it will not stay at maximum range, but it will move until it gets in range of a unit and then stop and fire until until there's no longer a unit in range, and then continue upon the move direction that was given with the attack move. Now you can technically just still counter that by pushing directly into a attack move. That way as units on attack move will not pull back, they will just move forward if there's no longer anything in range, but it's an easy way to save APM while still doing some damage, or still having your units at decently high range. Now, by the looks of it, the Tsar was dropped onto the navy of Ficum, but they had a lot of cruisers, so I suspect that just shot them down. Or it was the air force of Samsung 4K, not too sure. And the GC tried to push up through the pond, but got countered by some submarines and I guess these battleships, these summits. Which, actually, funnily enough, in a brawl against the Omen, come out actually lose as they have a very high reload, and thus comparatively low DPM compared to the Omen. But they do have the highest range and highest HP pool in return. However, the Omen has the shortest range but the quickest cannon reload, and thus is better suited for a brawling situation. Which is interesting, as Aeon usually is more geared towards high range units. But I suppose for that they have their Tempest experimental battleship. But aircraft carriers in the South Pond now, currently under fire from Tempest, but still also providing a nice no-fly zone for the Air Force of Swirzak, and shooting down quite a few ASF by the looks of it. Those battleships don't have any normal ground DPM weapons, ground targeting weapons, so all these 14 kills were probably ASF. Definitely nice to see, but they just got completely shredded by these Tempests. And those are going up really, really fast. Let's see, is there any shenanigans going up from other players? We have a monkey load out from Saudi. It may be moving up the middle at some point. Currently a massive upgrade started by Swirzak. They also have an Eye of Rian to basically spy on the enemy, see what they're up to. Since that just gives you a small ring of vision that you can put anywhere on the map. Any game end or shenanigans kind of stuff, or any standoff technology or stuff like that. Not that there would be any need of this in the current stage of the game, as everyone is still actively pushing. Now T3R out for Gabba as well by the looks of it. We have a nuke out for Samsung 4K. Okay, there we have what I was looking for, and Monkey right here in the back, I guess as tele-defense. With some mass upgrades as well. And instead of an air grid, just lines of air factories. I suppose they just have enough power right now. But that seems to be it right here. What I did just notice is that an Atlantis has been built up by Ficum, the experimental aircraft carrier of the UEF. UEF does not get a regular aircraft carrier. Instead, they get the Atlantis, which also serves as a Tier 3 submarine, and actually has some amazing range on its torpedoes. And also some pretty great torpedoes on that note. And if surface, since it's an aircraft carrier, also some amazing AA. But yeah, it's definitely nice naval experimental. Would love to see it pushed up more towards the Navy, and let's see, what are they currently building in that? ASF. Fair enough. Funny note on the cold idea of a submersible aircraft carrier. That idea is not actually anything new. If I remember correctly, a plan or an idea, concept for something like that actually appeared towards the end of the Second World War, if I remember correctly, from the Japanese. No idea if the idea for the Atlantis came from that, but funny thing to point out when looking at this completely over-the-top, hilarious-looking submarine in this science fiction game. That technically an idea for something like that has existed for quite some time now. Now, in the south here, Tempests have been submerged, as I guess they have been facing too much direct fire threat, and are no longer, and Svirzak has now come to the conclusion that having them on the top of the, or on the surface, is no longer safe. We do have a Megalith out from Gabba. Very nice to see. Megalith, if you believe it or not, actually a pretty solid naval experimental. Shitting out torps like nothing, and having some pretty good range on those. If we just take a look at that. I think the torps are at the same range as the cannons, since since there isn't a special torp range, so yeah, that thing is pretty amazing. Can just check that. If we go, the nanite torpedo launcher has a range of 64, and the proton cannon also has a range of 64. So yes, I am correct, and we have 100 times 4 damage on that on those torpedo launchers. With, if we just look at the DPS, 300 DPS from those torpedo launchers. So quite nice. The nuke out from Samsung 4K that I pointed out earlier, and it's going for the naval production of Saudi right now. Taking that out will be a very, very nice thing. Very effective, as that will basically cripple the capability to contest the Navy for the Southern team, or contest the Southern Navy. The monkey that I pointed out earlier is now moving through the middle, taking out some T1, not T1, some T3 spam. But there is PD quickly being thrown up, and the units are pulling back. And if things go really, really badly, there is the Navy that can just pull up and help with that. Now, meantime, right here we have a whole bunch of T1 submarines that have moved up into the Navy of UEHIM, which, however, are, funnily enough, just reclaimed by those air engineers. Again, air engineers cannot be targeted by torpedoes as they are harbor. And I see that some filthy tech sharing happened, as there is T2 Navy with the production of some stealth boats, some Cyber Navy that is even producing stealth boats out for UEHIM. Tech sharing really, really frowned upon, unless you get it through full share. It's a really nasty thing, as it basically allows you to just ignore the downsides of your faction by getting the advantages or getting access to the units of other factions, which may be better in that regard, and thus you can basically just build unit compositions that are perfect for everything, or don't have any real downsides. Now, air engage going out from between Samsung 4K and Svirzak with support from Gabba. Did not check the ASF count, but the turns currently seem to be going better for the northern team than this. However, we do have 3 stars that are pumping in a lot of damage. And I really mean a lot. Stars having some amazing AA. And the ASF, I think, never mind, they aren't going for the dive on that. Though, as soon as the stuff goes for a dive, I would love to see these South all shift lead with an attack move to the ground on the same spot, and that's exactly what's happening. As this way, when the when ASF are flying under to engage, they will fly directly through those beams, and the beam of the Sal has a lot of DPS combined with the fact that they all stack on each other just increases that even more. And also being stacked on each other causes a damage sharing effect between all the Sals, as the shield has a hitbox that's slightly bigger than the Sal itself. And also the clipping has some weird damage sharing properties, if I remember correctly, so it's an amazing strategy if you pull it off. Of course you need multiple Sals for that. At the same time, you will make a lot of people very unhappy if you do that, as it is also very cheesy. However, apparently that just served as a distraction for Samsung 4K to pull in a bunch of strat bombers and strat the air crit of Swirzak, who is building a Paragon, the Aeon experimental resource generator, producing a lot of energy and, more notably, up to 10,000 mass a second. The resource production of it scales with your consumption so that you don't waste too much mass. But you can technically just calculate with the 10k mass income that you can get out of that. Basically, it's unlimited mass, since it's hard to max that out. It is possible. It's also possible to max out multiple of those, of course, but you'll need a lot of willpower for that. Like, a lot. 10,000 mass is really a very large amount of mass. It's an insane amount. That would be a chicken, or let's go for a Monkey Lord, because Monkey Lord is the cheapest, and let's see how much does a Monkey Lord cost. A Monkey Lord costs 20,000 mass. That would be a Monkey Lord every 2 seconds. That's a lot. What I apparently completely missed is that there was a nuke out from Yuihan, I believe, that did land in the Naval production for Yuihan, who also built their own nuke launcher right here, a Stone Ager. With that size, I think that may have been a nuke sub. Currently can't see any. Where did this nuke come from? Right here. There are plan Bs out from Gather, so everyone on the Northern team has some capability to launch nukes. It was an Aeon nuke, so it was either out from Swirzak or Yuihan. Can't see any nuke launchers out from the Seton team though. Main base of Sodi just going down to the nuke launch from that plan B. Nuke out from Fickham now, from their Stone Ager. And let me just check, what was the shortcut? Cannot remember the shortcut to select all name, damn it. It wasn't Control N. That was the shortcut to rename stuff, apparently. Probably gonna forget it again, and here we have them, the nuke subs. Right, this one did actually hit, and 23k mass hit. Not too bad, not too shabby. Let's see how much did this kill. 6k, not too great. And we have a Scalefest going up for Sunset 4k, and I think I saw, yep, another one going up from Gabble. And out of curiosity, how much did this plan B kill? 56,000. That was probably at this stage of the game the most effective nuke in the game. Yeah, this one killed 28,000 with one launch. Though this launcher is loaded again, the Liberator out from Samsung, so that could do some stuff. Okay, the South for Swirzak moving out. That Paragon at 63% and going up rather quickly. Swirzak also building up quite a few SAMs. I guess that they really just don't want it to be sniped by strat bombers. And also a whole bunch of PD to prevent a sneaky Cyber and Tele snipe. But I think their air HQ actually died in the stratting of the air grid earlier. But the SARs are now moving in, and I think those are actually building ASF due to the air grid dying. Yep, they are. Right, I unmuted a bit early. Sorry about that cough. But apparently, Gabba already started building up Myrmidons on the beach. Really, really nasty. And there were... I was supposed to say there were of course also the aircraft carriers in the pond, but either they pulled back or they have all died. And a lot more nuke subs now going up by Gabba. Though they are currently not building nukes. This one... yeah, I think this one still is. Yeah, there is. Every time it launches you can see it blink to the nuke progress for a bit. Though it's hard to see it due to the reload bar, of course, also showing the reload of the ballistic missiles. Or the normal missiles, or however you want to call them. The normal tactical missiles that the nuke sub launches. Now, nuke going into this naval area. However, I'm not sure if it will get too much as the Navy for UN is already pulling out. Already pushing forward. Maybe if Fickham can force it to pull back a bit, that could do some damage. But right now I can't see it being too effective. I think that one came out from that Liberator. No, that Liberator's loaded. No, that's UAF nuke. That looked small. Is there a nuke sub? Well, maybe I should just check. Never mind, it came out from that. The mascot on the nuke launcher did increase in that Stone Ager. Apparently all three SARs did go down, and we now see a whole bunch of naval bombardment out from all these battleships. And a land push out from a Monkey Lord. So Southern team no longer looking too great. But they are about to finish a Paragon. So they are about to get unlimited mass. And unlimited power. On that note. But I think the unlimited mass again is more important in this case, and you can see just how fast these shields get thrown up now, with all that build power on it. As those can just spend at full rate. As right now Swiazak has no longer any worries about mass stalling. And they immediately started building a emissary, not an emissary, a what you call it, a salvation. Now, how are the Scathai looking? The Scathai for Samsung 4K is about halfway done. The one for Gabba is at 70%. So Gabba will probably finish theirs a bit earlier. They are at a higher eco. So, fair enough. But them being at a higher eco makes a lot of sense as they have double base with the front slot. And now, with the collapse of the front area, are also just expanding onto the maxes that would usually belong to the enemy team. Love this. The use of these T3 mobile RTs, these trebuchets, out from Gabba to just bombard the navy of the Ehan. Let's see the range on those. Yeah, those can reach the battleship. And of course those frigates, but I think targeting down that battleship is one of the most important things, as the battleship is probably one of the biggest threats in that navy. But with the accuracy of Cyber and RT, it's gonna hit everything, including the battleship, so whatever. But yeah, that's an amazing idea. Battleships continuing to threaten the inland area. But Team 2 now pulling ahead significantly on mass production. A over 3k mass income ahead. Of course, most of that from Swiazak, who is at over 4,000 mass income. with that Paragon. UN at 1.3k as they have received all the maxes that belong to Swirzak. A strategy you commonly see when players go for Paragon is that as soon as they finish it, they gift over all their regular mass production to the teammates, as they no longer need it, and the Paragon can't be maxed out, can still be maxed out using that. But Strat Snipe coming in from Samsung 4K, I think they did utilize the stuff of the strats as well to just get in there. And they are dropping. Shields are collapsing, but I think there may sadly be enough shields to stop that from actually getting through. Yeah, the strats all got shot down, and thus the Paragon does actually survive. Salvation about to finish, and it just has. But we see a volley of highly spread out shells coming in, so a Scatheless must have finished. And let's see, it's right here. Gabba using the ability of the Scatheless to move, building it under the water so it won't be detected as easily, and then moving it onto the land. Something players sometimes tend to forget is that a Scatheless is technically a mobile unit. Due to that, you can't get any adjacency for higher fire rate, or a lower cooldown between the volleys. But it technically does allow you to dodge strat snipes or nukes, stuff like that. And also get safe from artifire if things go too badly. If you start moving quick enough, as one problem is that the Scatheless has to pack in its barrels. I think, yeah, you refer to the thingies on artillery guns or generally guns as barrels, yeah. In English at least. But with that Scatheless fire, the shields around the Paragon are under significantly more threat, though there is heavy assistance on these shield generators to just keep them alive, and still more shield generators thrown up to prevent shield, though while those will probably no longer actually cover the Paragon, those will definitely cover the other shield generators, preventing them from dying if the if shields start collapsing. The idea with stuff like that generally is you still want your Paragons to stay alive, not your Paragons, your shield generators to stay alive even after they go out. Samsung 4K just died, though that ICU is still alive, so I guess they had to leave for some reason. We are looking at around 1 hour game time now, so fair enough, this game is a long one. But the second Scatheless has finished and is now gifted over to Gabba. But the Salvation has targeted down the main aircraft that once belonged to Samsung 4K, now to Gabba. And is now targeting onto the position where the Scatheless right here was. So that has been scouted. And currently there doesn't seem to be nearly enough shielding to actually keep it safe from that Salvation fire. But quickly more shields are being thrown up, so that is already changing, and second Scatheless has opened up fire. And while the shield support may have been enough previously against one Scatheless, I do not believe that will suffice against double Scatheless. And you can already see the outer shields here collapsing. So I don't think that the Paragon will actually survive. Is there a second Paragon under construction? No. I think that's a massive mistake. If you build one Paragon, you should always build a second one somewhere else, just for redundancy. But more of the aggregate going down, this Salvation has already taken some damage. And I don't think that Swirzak is going to be able to actually defend against it properly, as there isn't really anything that can defend against multiple Scatheless. Now, I mean, to be fair, nothing can defend against multiple T4 arties in general. That goes for the Salvation just as much as it goes for the Scalpers. And it also applies to the Naval. Though Salvation Fire just broke down through the shields around this Scalpers, taking that out. But shields got back up in time, so that reclaim is preserved. And with that, I think in theory, Gabba can just build another Scalpers. Another nuke goes out from this nuke sub, I think. I guess due to the threat that is currently that nuke sub is currently down, about to go down, just some panic nukes. That nuke does land, but it does not do any damage. Or at least not any major damage. And yeah, Northern Point also no longer looking too great. Scalpel is now retargeted onto the base of Yuihin. I guess Gabba just gave up on trying to take out the Paragon, which I would see as a major mistake, as a Paragon is too dangerous to be left alive. If we just look at total mass collected, even though Team 1 was at for most of the game, Team 2 actually caught up with that now. And is now sitting at 6.2k mass income, 4.6 of that from Swissag. Or Swissag. So yeah, definitely a major threat. Zodi going for a Scalpers in this pod. Honestly, would be curious if a Scalpers can actually fire from here. As this is, since the main part of the Scalpers is technically submerged, but if it extends, it would technically also reach out of the water, so not too sure. But Scalpers retargets onto the Paragon, and there are nukes now going in. Holy shit, there are a lot of nukes going in. Those are 5 years, so 9 nukes going in. This SMD still is 4 times loaded, but first off, I don't think it has the fire to actually take out all these nukes, and it of course also wasn't loaded enough, and yeah, that was enough to take out the Paragon. Which will cause Swissag. Okay, that's interesting. Right, I think the team decided to offer recall, and that's just bugged in the replay. But massive power store now out from Swissag, as they... I think they gave out, over their power production to their teammates, as they no longer needed to tune the Paragon. And they of course also no longer have any mass production. They are now getting some power overflow, but their mass is just looking completely horrible right now. They have 4 normal mass income. Though they are getting quite a bit through reclaim. But yeah, it's really bad. Though saying that, the Scalpers did actually end up going down to the Salvation Fire, I believe. But now that the most dangerous game enders of the game have gone down, Vickham decides it's time to go for Maver, the UEF game ender. We're just missing the Yolana Ox this game. But the Salvations are still alive, and with the Scalpers, with the Scalpers going down, those are currently under no threat at all. Mass production has been gifted over back to Swissag. But without that Paragon, the mass production for Team 2 is completely crippled. They are currently over 1k mass behind their opponents. And well, to be fair, they still have those Salvations which will take out anything on the mainland, basically. Would honestly love to see that just target onto this general area, onto this giant mass fab grid out from Vickham, who is pulling in a whopping 1.7k from that. I think also just from Zakus as well, but yeah, that's just insane. Let's see, how much do I actually gain from that? 480. That's a lot. Now that's a lot of mass. Yeah, that is a lot of mass. Yes, I did actually get it correct. And Salvation is now retargeting onto that. The one thing I said I would love to see, and it's just happening. Now that is going to be painful. Since both Tier 3 gens and Tier 3 mass fabs are highly volatile, especially Tier 3 mass fabs, and yeah, the entire thing goes down, including the start of the production of the Naval, and a whole bunch of cycles in the area. And that just dropped Thickham's mass income by roughly 1k mass. And now the Salvation fire that still keeps coming, as there is of course still some of that in the air. Just kills off the Reclaim as well. But this nuke is about to load again. Right, I think the nuke right here did die. Never mind, it didn't. It's this one is loaded twice. So a lot of nukage currently still a possibility. The Scalpel is still under construction for Saudi, though I don't think that this will finish, to be honest. They did apparently build some Seraphim Rambo cycles at some point, though I didn't see those being utilized. Reason for that is either that I just didn't pay attention to that, or that they really just didn't get utilized. But with the development of the game, and are now completely basically in control of the Northern team, after the aircraft for Swirzak got completely wrecked, the solution of Swirzak is to use ludicrous amounts of T3 land production to just spam out Redeemers. I mean, fair enough. Probably works. And lots of nukes now going out, and a large amount of Corsairs out from Gabba utilized to snipe the SMDs. So those nukes will get through. Though, on the other hand, this navy or the naval area is also no longer safe, and a naval landing could basically happen everywhere now. Like, especially here just with some destroyers. But nukes coming out from there as well. Though currently not actually nuking anything that has something going on. Instead just nuking what is now empty space. But also the space area. And I think there was some important infrastructure right here in this wall of white. But I think it's pretty obvious how this game will end. As well, right, there were salvations here. Yeah, there's only one salvation left now for the Southern team. While the game enders have been, the idea of game enders has been seized by the Northern team, but I don't think they will need it anymore, as the Southern team has actively been yielding generally land and everything of the likes, and is now just under heavy fire from nukes. And holy, just a death stack. Holy mother of gunship death stacks. Yeah, SAMs won't do anything against that. You need flag if you want to do anything about this. How many are we looking at right now? Over 200. I think those may have been 300 at some point. That is ludicrous. Now, the SAMs will still take them out due to those just really balling up now, and the small AoE of the SAMs, and there was also now some flag being started up. And I guess also just a nuke landing in the area, which took out everything in the area, so it wasn't too important. But still, that was a lot of Jesters. And holy shit, there's a lot of reclaim on the map. Do I still have... Okay, I currently don't have Reclaim Counter mod enabled. Or I currently don't have Reclaim Counter mod, but... Look at this! Wait a second, let me just enable Reclaim Clumping if I can find it for a moment. I think this should be under gameplay. Either I can't find it or it's here. Right, Okay, yeah, never mind. Not gonna find it. Sorry for the short delay with that, I guess. I thought that would probably be easier to grasp how much reclaim there is on this map if I enable it, but couldn't find the settings, so whatever. But, I mean, we still have the rack of 3 game enders. Which... Right, I think the Scathless rack has taken a lot of overkill damage. So... let's say 200,000 mass just from that, and... I mean, all the red still shows that those are big chunks of reclaim. I mean, we still have these Tempests right here in the water. Or still a Zal right here. And all these juicy factories as well. They were saying that there was also no longer a play to actually collect or grab these side islands, so I don't think that eco matters anymore at this point. Or well, it does matter, but it doesn't matter anymore to the extent for Team 1 that they actively try and increase it. And I guess Reclaim also just counts under that. Though, can they spend their mass? They definitely can, but they aren't stalling that heavily. That would be that reclaiming would do a major difference. And Fickham can't actually spend their mass. So fair enough. Sauropus now coming in for Gabba right here on the side. Going after the last salvation. The last salvation of Team 2, and it's about to die. And there it goes. Boom. And with that, there are no longer any game enders in this game. Could swear I saw a nuke icon right here just a moment ago. I guess I was wrong. I guess I must have been hallucinating. But with that, Team 2 really has nothing going for them anymore. The entire team is now just focusing down, trying to build the Scathers, but their eco is below 1k mass income now. They are down to just around 500. So everything they can throw at that is no longer a lot. And with that, I don't think they will be able to actually... Scratch that! They did finish it. Right, I think it took some damage from other stuff, and...
Strategic launch detected.
Interestingly enough, these Scathers can't actually fire from that. Now, I call bullshit because even without being extended, the barrels already are just looking or going out of the water, but
Strategic
oh well.
launch detected.
It has moved out sufficiently, it is extending now, and there are however multiple nukes targeted for that, so that Scathers is not long for this world. And there also goes a large clump of economy, and Ian's ACU, the team is down to 277, and I think the southern team now recalled. Or just the control, or maybe the control kite ACUs, not too sure. But I hope you enjoyed this reclaim, not this reclaim. I mean, maybe you can also enjoy all this reclaim. But I hope you enjoyed this replay. And yeah, this was streamed live on Twitch. Link to that will be, as per always, down in the description. And yeah, if you enjoyed this, leave a like, or leave a comment if you have something to say about this cast, if you noticed something on the minimap that I have missed or watched the replay yourself. And yeah, hope to see you again in a future cast or a or stream, and till then, bye!